What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with another video on Arrow Season 5, Episode 5, Human Target. Baz is also here as well, my little boy. As a big Arrow fan, as you can see on my channel, and the fact that I usually wear an Arrow t-shirt, this episode was amazing, and also I'm a big Arrow fan. So this episode even made me, to some degree, question if they had a whole new executive producer, a whole new writing cast. For me, this episode of Arrow was like none other. Last week's episode, I was quite harsh on it because I thought it was terrible, to be honest. But this week's episode, it was like, oh my god, where has Arrow come from? It's like, are we back in season 2? I just thought this episode was that good. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and like for my little boy, and we'll get into it. So the focus on this episode was finding Wild Dog, as Tobias Church took him captured last week's episode on penance. So he was being tortured, electrocuted, water being chucked in him, punched by Tobias with a brass nut. Basically it was pretty brutal, but we didn't get to see too much of it. And Tobias Church says it's not fear that scares a person, it's the fear of being hurt or something like that. So we realised that Tobias Church is basically a pussy, like I've said. He's a really shit villain, and I'm so glad that Prometheus killed him off towards the end. He was killed, he basically told him who the Green Arrow is, like his real identity. But if Prometheus is from Oliver Queen's past, he already knows who the Green Arrow's real identity is. So that kind of information was kind of funny, and the scene where Prometheus killed him off at the end was sick. So basically, Tobias Church was trying to become this massive drug lord who was going to control like Keystone, Bloodhaven, and all the like surrounding areas. I think it's the West Coast, they said. But to me, he was a shit villain, so I'm glad he was killed off and he had no context. So we found out that Wild Dog really couldn't see who he was talking to, ended up telling him who he was. So then Oliver went into hiding, but I think they did this quite nicely, as the human target, Cham, became Oliver Queen, but to the point where they didn't even tell you it was him. So for about, I think, 10 minutes of the episode, it was the human target, but they didn't let the audience know who it was. I mean, he got Susan Williams' phone number, he beat the dude in the room so they could make the low budget houses. I mean, I just didn't like the fact that the voice didn't change at all. You couldn't even tell it was the human target over being Oliver Queen. At that point I didn't actually like, but that is pretty much the only negative I've got for this episode. I'm starting to like Wild Dog. We found out why he was just discharged from, I think it was the Navy, because they were trying to get some information out of some dude and he kind of went the wrong way about it, so he got discharged that way. It looks to me like they're trying to bring some kind of John Diggle, Wild Dog, deep connection, because they both served in the forces. I mean, I didn't like Wild Dog at first, but I'm starting to come around to him. It's looking quite good. We found out that Felicity is a liar. She lied to she lied to Curtis about who was on the phone. She didn't tell Oliver when she told, I think his name's Billy Malone, when she said she told him. But obviously the kind of human target ended up telling him that Felicity's moved on, which he didn't know. So we found out Felicity's a liar, and she said she didn't tell him because it would be weird and awkward. But to me it's pretty good. I mean, it doesn't mean Olicity's over. I mean, Twitter is going mental about it, all the Olicity shippers. So it's good because there was no Olicity, kind of when them two interact now, it shouldn't be awkward, should be good. I'm even coming around to Artemis, although I don't think she's given enough credit. I mean, only in the opening scenes when they were trying to find out where Wild Dog was being held, I think that's the only scene that I can actually remember her talking in. So I don't like the fact of that part. I mean, Ragman's awesome, but Ragman could have taken Tobias Church out like that as Tobias Church. I mean, my 5 episodes in, and the kind of sub-drug lord has been killed, and also Mr. Terrific, awful character. I mean, he should stay to being Curtis, as he's a much stronger person, being the tech guy, rather than trying to be a kind of superhero. But slowly I may change my mind on that. So it all came to an end at the end where they went to an airstrip. Bloodhaven was referenced again. No, it doesn't mean we're getting Nightwing. So they all went into a massive fight in the airstrip with all the kind of drug lord people all trying to come together. Tobias Church and Oliver got into a fight where Oliver owned him, Tobias owned him, and then at the end Oliver owned him, and then right at the end this is where Prometheus killed him. And we did see the human target again dressed up as someone else. I mean, the flashbacks are making sense this season, as Oliver and Susan Williams came to agreement that she won't go after him for a month. But with the flashbacks, we found out that the human target actually helped Oliver in his past, but he doesn't know that. And somehow some guy appears, Susan Williams, has got a picture of Oliver from the Brava in Russia from 5 years ago, which doesn't actually make sense because it shouldn't be 5 years ago, I don't think. I mean, it was 5 years ago, but it's been back 5 years. It might make sense for the timing. So it's pretty interesting. And no, I don't think Prometheus is Christopher Chance. That is just ridiculous. I don't think Prometheus is him. But Arrow is going to start to get quite interesting now. Killings on the table. No, John Diggle's back, so cool. All we need now is Thea to come back, and I'll be happy with Team Arrow, and to stop the storylines divulging in kind of being about romance. I mean, Oliver's even starting to become a better mayor. So next week's episode, it really starts to begin. We do see Prometheus is killing massively in the next trailer. I will be doing a video breakdown trailer. I think the episode is called Now It Begins, or Where It Begins. So it's obviously from someone's past, which is going to be quite interesting. So let me know down below in the comments what you thought about this episode. To me, this has been the best episode of Arrows from years. I really did like this episode. It was very, very strong. I mean, Felicity gets a lot of hate weekly, but it seems that she's been given a better storyline so far. I want to know where she's going in the second half. As I think it was Wendy said, she's going to be taking a much different path in the second half of this season. Anyway, guys, Warstu here, and say well, and Baz the dog, and we'll both catch you in another video, which will be my trailer breakdown later on today. Peace.